Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 673 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Mark Sanna with Breakthrough Coaching. And what I discovered is no one will care more about your practice than you ever will. Stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have second time on the show, Mark Sanna. We were just discussing how we did a show that was in 2019 before the whole world got lambasted with the virus. And I think that there's going to be some takeaways on today's episode that you guys are going to want to stick around for to listen to. But before I jump into what we're talking about with Breakthrough Coaching, that's the group that Mark runs. We're going to talk about him being part of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. And we're going to talk about marketing. Where is it today and where is it going into the future? And he has a book called Cracking the Code, Marketing Chiropractic, How Chiropractors Align Spines and Minds. So there's going to be some amazing topics that we're going to discuss today. But before we jump into Mark's interests, I'm going to let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. That is a very important thing to the evolution of society as it is. And I know what it's like to be shadow banned. I know what it's like to be traffic throttled and censored. I would never do that to you. And this message of chiropractic can never be censored. So let's stay true to that. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. I shouldn't have to talk about these things, but if you need guidance on any of those topics, please find a chiropractor in your neighborhood and city. They will definitely help you guide the future of your family's health. Philosophically speaking, we protect the sacred trust. If you don't know what that is, it's BJ Palmer's last written words. Go to the show notes, click on that link. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you did previously, I guarantee you. Further down the philosophy funnel, we do believe in subluxation-based chiropractic, innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. We believe in the philosophy of chiropractic. That's something that distinguishes chiropractic away from every other medical profession out there. And that's why chiropractic is here the way it is, and it will continue to win. With that, Dr. Mark Sanna, welcome to the show.
Hey, James. Great to see you again.
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about philosophy within this profession. So, and business and marketing and all the things that you love. So if you guys are out there watching this and you know that there's somebody that needs to hear this message, please share the show. Share the show to colleges, the campuses, the students, the new grads, the 3-year practitioners, the 5-year practitioners, the people that have been out for a decade. Hey, if you're out of school for 30 years, maybe you can learn something from what we're going to be talking about today. So stick with us and please share the show. So first things first, your coaching group. Let's talk about it. A lot of people are out there in the chiropractic coaching world. Let's talk to them about Breakthrough specifically. Why did you think that Breakthrough coaching was something that you wanted to, make as an important part of your life?
Well, James, first of all, thanks for having me here again. And
of course,
it's exceptional to see. I think we discussed we're coming up on 700 episodes on Chiro Hustle. So congratulations for that. It's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah. And making friendships like yours over these years has changed my life. So, the show was about giving a voice to the chiropractic profession, but I can't tell you the number of people that over 7 years of producing a show, how many beautiful people are in my life now because I just stuck to one thing and did one thing over and over and over. But I think it's mattered. It's mattered to the whole environment of where we are today with chiropractic. If you'd have told me 7 years ago that everybody would have like been locked into their homes and we would have had 60,000 people a month listening to our show, like, and podcasts would be like the next thing, like I would have been like, yeah, I'm just going to interview a bunch of chiropractors to see what happens. Well, now we've seen what happens, right?
Well, you have made an impact on this profession. And I can remember when you were just getting going and you said, Mark, I'm going to make an impact on this profession. You have. You have.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And having a second chance to interview you today, I think a lot of people are going to learn about marketing, where we are today and how to best handle that. But let's talk more about Breakthrough. Like, what are you guys up to now?
So just to let people know what Breakthrough is about, where we came from, why it exists, it is quite frankly, my dad is a chiropractor. I grew up in the chiropractic profession. James, this is my dad's 69th year as a chiropractor. It's just amazing. I'm coming up on 38 years myself, but 69 years ago, becoming a chiropractor. And he's first generation American. His parents came from a little island of Sardinia off of Italy and lived through the Great Depression and through the miracle of chiropractic, had a sports injury in high school and was literally going to have to drop out of school. Couldn't focus his eyes, lost balance, couldn't stand without being assisted. And they were going to put him in the developmentally handicapped school back at that time. Wasn't so sophisticated maybe as it is now, pretty serious. And so he discovered chiropractic, devoted his life to it. And growing up as a chiropractic kid, I got to be around, you talk about some of the greats in our profession at their knees, from Clarence Gonstead all the way through. And my dad is an extraordinary adjuster. I mean, can move a cervical spine like I've never seen anybody else be able to do it. And I learned how to do that way before I ever went to chiropractic college. So here I am, little kid, 6, 7 years old. I'm adjusting my dad. I'm adjusting my mom, adjusting the dog, the cat. I telling people I was going to be a dogopractor when I grew up. And so I knew what I was going to do way back when. And so going through chiropractic college was kind of a rite of passage for me, and got out, began in practice with my dad. And my dad taught me a whole lot of stuff. And I am an excellent adjuster. And I think if you ask many chiropractors, they'll tell you they are excellent adjusters. They have great set of hands. And we worked together. We worked hard. We worked long days. And it was not easy. I think one of the greatest things my dad ever did was to allow me to build a practice within his practice rather than handing me a practice or handing me patients. I had to start from zero. I remember when I hit 20 patients in a week, how exciting that was, because it meant I could pay the rent. And well, I learned great adjusting skills, and I learned tremendous work ethic, and I learned passion, and I learned, what many people have to discover, that there's a different way of looking at health. I often say becoming a chiropractor is like the Wizard of Oz. They pull the curtain away and you see that there's a scared old man behind the curtain is not the great Wizard of Oz. It's a fake, it's a phony, it's a fraud. And as chiropractic, we knew that. We grew up with it. I got the mumps when I was a child, And all the kids would be excited because they could stay home from school. My dad woke me up every hour on the hour, adjusted me in the morning. The mumps were gone and I went to school. I was ticked up. But hard work, passion, focus, work ethic, work harder, and it's all going to work out. Doesn't necessarily work out that way. And the business part of chiropractic, I was never taught. My dad, as I said, he grew up without any money, without having a model or a role model of how to handle success and how to plan for the future. I never had a plan for the future. I was just, just all out, go, work. And like a lot of chiropractors, that's kind of their exit strategies, is to work your butt off until you can't anymore and drop dead, giving your last adjustment over your last patient of the day. And I knew there was more. And I saw other friends who went through high school and getting successful in their different careers. And I knew that I had to learn about the business of this practice that I was in. If I was going to make a future for myself, if I was going to make a future for my family. And I began studying business and I began learning everything I could about numbers. And I think I'm going to bet I'm a little dyslexic. B's and D's kind of jump around on me, and numbers definitely were never my friend. Probably the worst math student ever to go through mathematics in school, and until you put a dollar sign in front of it, and all of a sudden I got interested and I wanted to learn about it, and I learned about profit and loss statements, and I learned about how to create a nest egg and invest and have a 401k and all the important things that my dad didn't get to learn early on. And probably the most important lesson is compounding interest, right? The earlier you can put a little something away for yourself, the younger you can do that. And I tell my docs who are just starting out in practice, please, about tithing 10% to the church. Well, put 10% to yourself, put it in a bank account that you can't touch, and invest it well, and it'll grow in compounding interest over the years. And you will never have to worry about money if you do that. And you never see that 10%, right? It's one of the greatest things that you can do. So Breakthrough Coaching was developed to teach chiropractors business so that they never had to go through the hardships that I went through, the hardships that my family went through, the hardships that my dad went through. To me, the only thing that saddens me about chiropractic is when I see a chiropractor who's not doing well financially, because they're giving the world the greatest gift that there is, and they should be absolutely compensated joyfully, abundantly. And I want to be sure, and it's good reason why you mentioned some of the foundations that I'm involved with, is I want to make sure that the future of this profession is strong, is sound. There's a bunch of stuff that's broken. We can talk about that, but there's a lot of stuff that's getting fixed. And we have an amazing generation of chiropractors coming up behind us. I'm very, very confident. I'm how do they say, bullish on on chiropractic.
So just listening to your love for this profession, knowing that you're a second generation chiropractor and you've been running Breakthrough Coaching now, how long have you been doing Breakthrough Coaching?
It's 26 years this year I've been coaching chiropractors, and that's me owning Breakthrough Coaching. Before I bought the company, I worked for the company for 4 years. So I'm coming up on 30 years with Breakthrough Coaching.
Well, I think that those are really important things to pay attention to, because when I talk to people about being in this profession for 16 years and have scheduled over 11,000 new patients by doing events, like in-person events, and we've done 1,300 interviews in 7 years. Like those numbers are really cool for us to hear, but they really don't understand the significance of it because that's our life's work. So it is really cool, and we can throw those metrics up to people, but it's really the power of one. Like, how can you take one person that doesn't know what they're doing with chiropractic and get them back on course? Or they have like great hands, like you were saying, they're great adjusters, they have philosophy, they just don't understand the business components of it. I think that those are the parts which, when you start to go granular with understanding, like, what is somebody's success? Well, success is when you decide if you're successful or not. You know, that could be right now. The person listening to this could be like, yeah, I'm not going to be successful until I'm seeing 200 a week, or I'm not successful until I see 500 a week, or I'm not successful until I see 100 a week, you know? And I think that that's a part where we have to really like start to talk, you know, to people and start, I guess, quizzing them. What is success to you? Doing surveys with people. What would it look like for you to have the practice of your dreams? And like starting to get to know people and having these open conversations, because honestly, I think the same thing for what I do. Most people don't come to chiropractic because they don't know where to go or who to trust. And I think the reason most people are afraid to come to big weekend seminars, my team was just out at Mile High with me. The reason I'm telling you this, they're like, why aren't there more chiropractors here? And I'm like, well, I think that there's a lot of chiropractors out there that are scared to show up because they're not running great practices. They have guilt because they think they should be doing better financially. They think they should be doing better as a doctor, and they're not. So they hide and they don't show up to these events and, you know, get dipped with their colleagues and show up and have fun with their group. And I think that that's something that we definitely should talk about as a cultural conversation is, look, if people knew that they could come to Breakthrough and find fellowship and not be judged for, you know, seeing 30 people a week or 20 like you did and thought you like won the Super Bowl. But like, what could we do to like give people encouragement rather than, if we all want to go find the problems, I could tell you 10 things right now that are a problem. But how can we help people and look for the solution side to where the problems don't matter? And I think that that's something I've seen always, the fire inside of you to present and to do better and to connect with the audience and to connect with your community to say, look, I figured these things out, been doing it for 26 years, a part of it for 30. Let me show you too, which I think is a huge like sigh of relief for people. And when I go out and do the work that I do, Mark, the number one clincher that I tell people, good news is you're an ideal candidate for what we do. I know we can help you. And right as I say those two lines to people, they feel like they've actually been seen. They feel like somebody's actually going to help them. And I think that if people just knew that they could come to you and they knew they had access to you, they'd probably feel the same way inside this profession.
Well, you've given them hope, and that's what you do. And that's what we all need in life. And I can say that the joy of life, the richness in life, it comes from people. It's great to be alone in nature and take a walk, but in the end, it's the legacy that you've left, the lives you've touched, the people who you've surrounded yourself with are the most important things. And one of the tough things that came out of the pandemic was isolation. And if you'll ask people honestly, they'll tell you there was a part of that isolation that they kind of enjoyed, cocooning with their family, cocooning with their loved ones, and kind of being able to stop time a little bit and pause time and think. And it created, I think, a false sense that you can achieve the things that you want, that you can have the impact that you want without being in touch with other people, without having a great friend group, without having a great peer group, without having people who you respect around you. And so it is maybe one of the reasons that the podcast industry has exploded so much is because when you're listening to a podcast conversation like this, you feel like you're part of the conversation. You feel like you're right here with us. It's a lot different when it's the three of us sitting together at a table and we're talking one-to-one and we're connecting that way. And so while getting information through this beautiful way of communicating online is a magnifier, it only magnifies what we get when we're with other people. And when you're in a chiropractic practice and you're going from patient to patient and you're having to do all the things that you have to do in a chiropractic practice that are not so fun, like documentation and coding and compliance and all the stuff that is not, the adjusting is super fun. The other stuff is not very fun at all. And you're doing that day after day, your reality gets smaller. It gets crammed into the four walls of your office, and you begin thinking that that's reality. And guess what? It's not reality. It's your reality. And so when you get out of that box and you go to a live event and you're sitting there with somebody who inspires you. And I can remember sitting in chiropractic seminars when I was not doing so well, and I'd see some guy get up on the stage and he'd be winning an award. Or I just spoke out in the Ohio convention last weekend for the Ohio Association, and they do the Doctor of the Year award this time of year, and they get up and they're so proud. And I remember sitting in that audience, and I would think, you know what? That guy can do it. I can do it. I can do that too. And it's through those little aha moments that you see, wow, here's what's possible. And maybe even push yourself a little bit further than you would if you were home in your boxers and flip-flops, getting out, being with other people, being with people who push you and grow you, I think is absolutely essential. And having a community of people who are thinking correctly, because the garbage that you see on television and you see in the newspapers and you see online, that it's garbage. You want to fill your mind and fill yourself with positive messages, thinking forward. Right now, I'm sitting in Miami, Florida, and there's a hurricane coming down, and every other news channel is hyping this thing up about how terrible it's going to be. And so people are vibrating at this horrible level, and you see them hoarding groceries and, like in the pandemics, no toilet paper. It's like, well, what the hell? Why is there no toilet paper? And so being around people who know that success, as you said before, Jim, it begins with your mindset, and having the mindset that, yeah, I am deserving of being successful, and I'm willing to do what it takes to be successful and learn what it takes to be successful, learn from others. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal. And that's part of the gift you give back to chiropractic.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Kytronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
And listening to you, and I appreciate you saying that. And I think so many people resonate with that message, because isolation is good if you want to hone skills, and isolation is good if you need some time to like recharge and to rest and digest. But when it comes to like long term, that's a bad play. Like it should be like intermittent. You should have like times where you go and find times to step away from all the busyness and say, this is where I'm going to go, as you call it, cocooning. Like you should go cocoon and you should figure out new strategies and time to yourself. And if you need a nap, like, hey, go take a nap. Or if you need to like find some mentorship, go schedule a lunch with somebody, break some bread with people, find a community. And that's the thing that I love about the work that I've been doing for, since 2016, going out to people's communities and helping them, is like people are looking for community. They want to be invited in. They want to be, acknowledged and seen. They don't want to feel different and like they're isolated. They want to be a part of what you're doing. So I think you definitely shared some good information there with people. But I know that we don't have a whole lot of time. So let's talk about the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. I know it's something that you are definitely on the charge with and doing a great job of promoting. And there's a legacy about that too. So let's talk a little bit about the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress and how you are working in it and what people are doing in the background today.
Well, thanks, James. And there are two organizations that I've devoted years of my life to. And one is the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and one is a newer organization called the Chiropractic Future Strategic Plan that you've helped along and have been involved with me in working on that as well. And if we were to pick the one thing that would make chiropractors' lives better, that would solve all of the problems, to me, it's patient access. If we had free, fair patient access the way that chiropractic deserves, and that's from all levels. I'm talking about discriminatory reimbursement practices, and I'm talking about legislative and restrictive scopes of practice, and having to fight battles against the AMA that still go on in this profession, and we're fighting them every day. But if we had fair, free access to patients, as many patients as you wanted, everything would be better. And so these two organizations approached that same question, that same issue, in a different way. So the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, it's all about positive press. It's how can we be part of the conversation at a level chiropractic never has been before. And that means not only at a national level, but at a local level. So the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress does everything from flying, no kidding, over the Labor Day holiday on Atlantic City Beach. You know how the airplanes fly by and they pull the banner behind it, the prop airplanes on the beach, flew the Discover Chiropractic banner back and across Atlantic City Beach. We have television commercials that have played on the Masters and FIFA, and just amazing things that are happening on the Olympics. First time to have an actual chiropractic commercial on the Olympics. And so things that, again, one of us alone couldn't do it. But when you put 40,000 together, there's 40,000 individuals who contribute to the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress on a monthly basis. It's an amazing thing. Now you got some bread. You got something that can move the needle, because it comes down, to, yes, knowledge, but it also comes down to wherewithal, and can you pay for the best people? And so the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress has us at the table in the conversation at every level, from employers to third-party reimbursement to network television, which is quite amazing. The Chiropractic Future is newer. It's 3 years old, and that is, we learned that. Not that we learned, we just realized, hey, we don't have a strategic plan. What kind of a company doesn't have a strategic plan for 5-year plan and where we're going and what we're going to do? And we surveyed thousands of chiropractors and got their response back of what are the most pertinent issues. Reimbursement came up, research came up. A lot of people overlook research, James, and you can't overlook research because research drives it all. Unless you have documented research, documented proof of the efficacy of what you do. I remember during the pandemic, I wanted to have all over social media, all over everywhere, how chiropractic can help with the immune system. Because I know, first of all, as a patient underneath regular chiropractic care or under regular chiropractic care, I don't get sick. I don't get the colds and flus and stuff that everybody else does. If I do get it, it's gone in a day. And my level of energy is very different from somebody who's not under chiropractic care. And I know it impacts my immune system and my patient's immune system as well. But I couldn't say anything because there was no damn research. And so we were actually prohibited. The FTC would have jumped all over us. Even the chiropractic boards would have jumped all over us if we said chiropractic adjustment and immunity, which is BS. I'm not going to say a bad word on your podcast, but it is baloney. And so bottom line is we need really, really good research that is not back pain and neck pain and headaches. I always say that chiropractic cures back pain, neck pain, and headaches is a side effect of chiropractic. It's not what chiropractic is about. Chiropractic, I know, improves the quality of life, improves your longevity, improves cardiovascular, pulmonary health, improves every parameter of health, mental health. And we need research that documents that quality of life research. And it's being done. It's being done. One of the speakers at the conference I was at was great, Heidi Havoc. And Heidi, she's a little New Zealander firestorm, but one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. And she's driving amazing research out of the school, Chiropractic College in New Zealand right now. But we need great research because research drives legislation. And it's legislation that controls reimbursement and access, right? The whole reason all of this baloney stuff that goes on with Medicare discriminating against chiropractors is because we didn't have the research. We didn't have it to back it up. Well, guess what? We got it and it's moving forward. So this strategic plan we put together, looking at all those pillars, including legislation, including reimbursement. And a lot of chiropractors don't know is that we've developed something called a data lake. And I didn't know what a data lake was, but imagine a lake full of data points. And we're collecting literally millions of data points of chiropractic reimbursement. Every single major EHR, every single major chiropractic software is contributing their reimbursement data and into this pool. And the University of Oklahoma, we've had 4 PhDs develop an AI intelligence overlay that can go in and extrapolate real-time reimbursement data. And so when an insurance company, as happened last year in Kentucky, started jerking around chiropractors and they were playing with modifiers and not reimbursing us, we took them to court, we won, and they had to pay $1 million back to the chiropractors in Kentucky. And so it's the guy who has the data, the guy who has the research. And I say guy, I mean the guy, gal, profession, that the person who has the data wins, right? So it's about information and data. And guess what? We got it in a way that nobody else has it before. And it's through this chiropractic strategic plan. So when I say, Jim, that there is amazing stuff coming down the pipeline for chiropractic, it's because we're using these amazing tools of AI to build reimbursement dashboards, to build legislative dashboards so that we know when somebody goes poking at our scope of practice across the country and they're probing to see if they can lessen us or hurt us or can, as they have since the inception of our profession, try to wipe us out and destroy us. The bottom line is we know before they know that we know now. And it's a pretty cool thing.
Well, the big understanding that I get from you talking about the chiropractic futures group is teamwork.
Yes.
And shared vision and keeping the profession moving forward in a positive fashion to where there is credibility. We know what chiropractic can do for the immune system because we're under care. We know what the profession can do for humanity because we're part of the profession. But there's 90% of people that have no idea what chiropractic can do. And that's the audience that I think we really need to build the case for, because they're losing trust in the other medical arena. So chiropractic, as we've always said, there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. Well, I think there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor with teamwork. And I think there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor with mission. There's never been a better time to be a chiropractor with unity. There's never been a better time to be a chiropractor with connection. And that's what I heard you talk about with this, the foundation and the futures. Yes. And if we have foundation and futures, and then we mix in influence and research and credibility, now we have a future that is self-sustaining. And as I say, what I do over here at Hustle, like I built a team around me that insulates me. I do what I'm good at. Everything else is a part that I have learned to have other people support me with. But if you have good leadership that's credible, then you can insulate the mission better. So I think leadership is something that's so important. And that's something that I think that having you onto the show today, you had a good chance of talking about why leadership matters, why community matters, why teaching people what you know can make an impact on other people's practices and futures. And I think that's just been really good. We didn't even get a chance to really talk about marketing today, but I do think I'm going to close out with a quick story. I was just at Mile High Chiropractic weekend, and there was a young gal that came up, and she's like, wow, your energy is just different. And she's like, I don't know really what to say, but who are you? And I told her who I was, and she goes, wow, I want to introduce you to somebody. So she takes me over and introduces me to this guy who's been running this magazine from his mom, who's a chiropractor that's passed away. And she said, I wanted to learn more about his mom. And we just did a Google search. I know we were talking about like AI and things, but we just did a Google search and his mom's name in your podcast came up. And he goes, you're the voice. He's like, you're the voice. He's like, I never met you before. And he's like, what a pleasure. I just listened to an hour-long interview you did with my mom. And now I can share it with my friend here, who my mom was, because that didn't exist before.
How cool.
Right. And I said, it's because I love your profession. I told him what I did is I made a Dream 100 list. I made a list of everybody I wanted to interview on our show. And I said, I made it a strategic plan for me to go find all these amazing people and get them one by one to come onto my show. And guess what, Mark? We've had every single person on that list to raise their hand and say, yes, I'll do a show with you and talk about this beautiful profession of chiropractic. And now when people aren't here anymore, they can go and find this database of conversations that keeps chiropractic real. And it allows people to connect with people energetically. And they know that there's passion behind what we do because of the way we produce. And nothing's contrived. Nothing is stolen. Everything is organic and real, and it's all beautiful. And just to hear John Ohm tell me Thank you for interviewing my mother, Jeannie, so I could share it with my friend. And now my friend knows who my mom is because of the interview you did with her. And Pathways Magazine is going to like work with Hustle now. So how cool is that? Like, I had no idea that that was going to be like the last moments of my Mile High weekend. But once again, that's another purpose for people to get out there and to like be a part of their community and go to seminars and listen to other people that are smarter than them. And, you know, people work really hard at being a presenter. They work really hard at giving talks. And kudos to all those people that go out there weekend after weekend, supporting this beautiful profession of chiropractic with their voice and their talent and their knowledge and sharing that openly to make other people's lives better. And I believe that that's what you do. I believe that I know that that's what I do. So it's really great to have you on for episode 673 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. And if you guys want to learn more about what Mark and I talked about before the world went crazy, we did an episode 109 back in 2019. So you guys can get a snapshot between what we talked about then and what we're talking about now. So Dr. Mark, thanks for being a part of our show today. If people want to learn more about you, where can we send them to?
Well, James, I would have them go to the mybreakthrough.com website. The great thing about having a strange name like mine, Sanna, Mark Sanna, is you can Google me and I come up first. And so Google Mark Sanna and you'll find my book on Amazon. You'll learn about marketing there. You'll learn about breakthrough coaching. And James, I'm so proud of all you've done, and thank you so much. I'm really honored to be on. It's number 673. So big props to you. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, I do protect the sacred trust. It does matter to me. And the things that I talk about aren't just for lip service at the introduction of our show. I do not ever want to see chiropractic fall, because if it does, all we'll have is medical tyranny and we'll have no autonomy of our bodies. And chiropractic is the one thing in this world that stops medical tyranny and checkmate coming into our lives on the big chessboard of freedoms. And I do believe that chiropractic is worth fighting for, and the chiropractors are worth supporting. And this profession is something that's profound. It's definitely something that everybody wants to take from, but very few give back. So I think that this is a way for us to create that legacy, that database, as you talked about data mining earlier. This is a data mine project that we've done with stories, and it's irrefutable. If anybody ever tried to ruin this profession and change it, we have 1,300 interviews that we could go to that court case and say, no, this is the chiropractic tone. These are what the chiropractors believe this profession is. Do you want to now have a further conversation? Because I have evidence from 1,300 chiropractors talking about the profession that they love. And maybe somebody's gone and we can find an episode and they can rekindle their relationship by hearing their loved one's voice. And that's really a legacy for me. So I hope to continuously always work with you. And let's have you on again and talk about things. I know we wanted to really talk about leveraging technology with marketing. So let's get on another episode here in the near future.
James, thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it.
I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. Dedicated my life to it past 16 years. And let's see what the next 16 years, how fruitful that will become. So with that being said, Dr. Mark Sanna, your episode 673 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Thank you for being our guest today. And as I close out every interview, I say, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.